Hey everyone, how's it going tonight? This is a brand new platform, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing. We'll figure it out. I seem to like it a good bit more so far. I don't know if y'all can see me on the screen. Hopefully you can. I think the things are a little delayed. Let me see if I... All right, so what do y'all have questions about tonight? We can start with that, with Q&A. And I'll tell you right now, because of this new thing, I'm actually streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So whichever one you guys are joining from, hopefully mostly YouTube. Thanks. Awesome. I did want to send myself something to throw out in case y'all didn't see. Give me 1 second if I can do this. See if it will let me do this. Bear with me. Show you this is what I wanted to show you guys. I'm gonna see if I can get it to pull up here. I don't know. I wasn't watching Kuma. As my wife had mentioned, we we had a situation where we're doing a project, and it just was terrible. It just was really bad. How did my StreamYard go? All right, so let me see if I can present something here. I'm trying to figure out if I can get this thing to work because I have not, like I said, used this stream before, so please bear with me a little bit, as this is my first time using it live. I did play with it a little bit yesterday. I'm trying to, I'm just gonna, let's see if I can go to it this way. All right, I can go this way to do it. I posted something earlier tonight that I actually got from another creator, so I do edit it because I like to make sure that, if a creator does something, that they get the credit for it. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here for y'all. I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm going to try to share this. All right, let's see. There we go. Look at that. I want to share this.
In the beginning, most of us believed the two surviving, Bethany and Dylan, were sleeping on the first floor. Since then, we've learned Dylan was sleeping here on the second floor, along with Xana and Ethan located here. Kaylee and Madison were located here on the third floor. The dog was located on the third floor and the room by itself. Let's move around and see through the walls into the kitchen, to the back slider, and take a look at the time frames. At 4:04 a.m., the suspect can be seen trying to park his car. At 4:09, approximately 5 minutes later, he enters the house through the back slider. At 4:18, he leaves the house after committing the crimes. At 4:20, he's caught on camera driving away at a high rate of speed. All of this only took 9 minutes. Let's watch what that looks like. The suspect enters through the back sliding door. There's the first bedroom he stops at and opens the door. He sees no one there. He continues to the next bedroom. Here we know what happens. Downstairs, Dylan is sleeping. The noise from upstairs wakes her up. She thinks it's Kaylee playing with her dog. She gets up and goes to the door and looks out. She sees nothing there. The suspect then continues down the stairs about 3 minutes later. He then heads to Xana's room. Outside, there's a security camera picking up some whimpering, cries, and a thud at 4:17. We've learned that Xana was found on the floor, which might explain the thud. Dylan again hears something and looks outside her door. She sees the suspect. He walks right past her and leaves.
Okay, and that was that. So the report starts all over again. So anyways, I wanted to show that. It looks like a lot of y'all saw that already, which is great. But for those of y'all who didn't see it already, I wanted to make. I felt like it was a really good visualization. Whoever created that did a wonderful job trying to clear everything up. It's insane how fast he went through everything. Brianna, the dog did bark. The dog did bark. They determined that. Let me go back and look at some of the questions people were asking. This is my first time, like I said, using this platform at StreamYards. I was not able to do that on the previous one, so I'm happy with it. Going back up to the beginning here, and I'll happily answer any questions that y'all have. I'm going back up to the beginning at this point. Hey, Carrie, thank you for coming in from Idaho. Okay, so I think after that, the first question is, what is the January 12th court date for? So that's a good question. So the January 12th court date is basically going to be a preliminary status hearing. So basically what they're going to do, I guess the best way to, basically, they're going to determine if they're going to be going to trial, basically having a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing will allow more information to be released, him to enter a plea. I don't think on Thursday he's going to be able to enter a plea. The defense, meaning Bryan, has the ability to waive a preliminary hearing, waive the preliminary hearing altogether. And I guess that would then take it straight to trial. I don't think that that's going to happen because I think he wants to plead not guilty. I don't really know exactly how it works. Judy, if she's still in here, may be able to answer that because she is an attorney. But that's what it's going to be for. It's not supposed to it's not necessarily expected to be this big jaw-dropping thing. But as they were saying on Banfield tonight, I guess it's possible that it could be at some point. So basically that's it. What part of medical are I am with? Where am I with pharma? I'm in sales, pharma sales. So somebody said, yeah, January 12th is the status conference to discuss if there's enough for the next step. January 12th is not the plea hearing. Exactly. It's not the plea hearing. All right, I'm looking here. Let me see if you're going back. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to move a lot of stuff to YouTube because I can do stuff like that, which I couldn't do. And then we can have like a real-time discussion with it, which is great. And on top of that, I think that YouTube, I'll just be very honest with y'all. TikTok's Creator Fund doesn't do very much. I've never taken a sponsor. I think I'm probably the only person with 500,000 followers on TikTok that hasn't taken a sponsor or promoted anything. So YouTube, my understanding is for creators is a little bit more lucrative. So that's what I'm trying to move some stuff here for that reason. Because this stuff does take a lot of time. Ashley, what is your question that you don't know if it has been answered? Going back. I think I answered that one. Yeah, the time frame for this is absolutely insane. How quickly he was able to go in and do that. It's like he met with no resistance. I know that we know that a couple of people had defensive wounds, but it seems like he was able. It seems like he was able to disable people pretty quickly, which is kind of terrifying. That some people, were sleeping depending on where he went first. We know that Xana was still up because she just got DoorDash. I would presume then that means that Ethan was still up unless he was, asleep and she was eating. But I would imagine he was probably still up. We don't know. But I would imagine Kaylee and Maddie were probably asleep. But we don't know. I guess we'll find that out. Did the neighbor's Ring camera or security camera catch the screams? Murphy barking. I know it caught like a thud, I think, and the affidavit did. And I know it did catch Murphy barking. I know that. I have ADHD and I use a 15-minute gamify method to do stuff. I'm always shocked at how much I can do in 15 minutes. I need to look into that, Jessica. I'm so bad on ADD. They might try to address the bond, but I don't think he's going to be moving anywhere. I think that's so Judy, who commented, I hope she doesn't mind me outing her here. She is an attorney. And so she said they might try to address the bond at the status hearing. Did he park? And I'm trying to answer the questions before I move on to anything else because I want all of y'all to, if y'all ask questions, I want to answer them the best I can. Did he park and come through the wooded area behind the house? That would be my guess. I think that would be what would give him the most discreet way in and out. So I think that's it. If this goes to preliminary hearing, then he will put his plea in. Okay, then to court, and it will determine if the case will be transferred to district court ahead of trial. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically his motive was not sexual. He went in with an agenda and got out quickly. Yeah, I said, Jamie, that's a really good point. I'm glad that you brought that up because if you were in here last night watching Nancy Grace, then she had a guest on there that was like, this is sexually motivated, and I don't know if she was trying to say that basically it gave him the same euphoria that sex would, but it's but I don't think that there was any. I agree with you. I think that there was not enough time for him to do anything that would have been any type of sexual abuse. One thing that was really interesting, though, that was on Banfield, I think a few nights ago, is they were talking about, when they, and I'll get a little graphic here. So sorry, trigger warning if anybody's been in the situation. I'm sorry. But with sexual abuse, typically, they'll use like a rape kit and they'll look for, we'll just say certain bodily fluids. But what this investigator was saying that oftentimes they won't look at, and it's even on, post-mortem, like the autopsies, they won't look like for saliva around certain parts of the body. Like, if you have somebody with a foot fetish, maybe they killed him and like licked the feet or something like that. They don't really test for that. But I don't think even in this case, he was in there 15 minutes tops. I don't think that it's possible for him to have done anything like that. And I just really don't feel like, I agree. I don't feel like that's the case, but I think that was a good thing to talk about. It was like he knew exactly what rooms he wanted to go into. So I think that's also a good point. Let's speculate a little bit on that. So as a lot of y'all know, I try not to speculate in my videos, but I will speculate with you guys all day long here in the chats. And I'm just going down the list. So if I haven't gotten to yours yet, I will. One thing about me is I will try my best to answer every single person's question before I get off this thing. And I just got on. So just for what that's worth. I think that, we know that his cell phone pinged a minimum of 12 times in the area prior to the murders, right? All of those times were at night, except for one, which was during the day. I am convinced, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay to be wrong, but I am convinced that he used that time to go in the house. That's my thought. Yeah, caught the whimpering too. Good. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, that's right. All right, I'm looking at this. It's always sexual, even in this case. I'd love to have more. I'd love to have more insight on that. That's something that I'm not a lot on, but I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you want to type it out, if you don't, then that's okay. We can discuss that a different day. I'm looking here. I definitely think he had been in that house, possibly even during a party. Does anyone else think that? So I think I just talked about that, Laura. I don't know if you'd asked that after I said that, but yeah, I think he's been in the house 100%. Okay, I'm going back to look at all this, see what y'all are saying. Did you see a TikTok with the girl that went on a Tinder date with him? I did see that one. I actually think I showed it yesterday on YouTube and on the old platform, so I had to hold my phone up. But yes, I did see that. A lot of people thought that she was chasing clout for it. I don't think she was chasing clout personally. I think that she, what does she have to gain for going on a 24-hour date, So y'all are answering this too. So yes, I have seen it though. All right, Jessica, I'm all about hearing your theories. Let's go for it. Knives are considered phallic. Okay, I could see that. I've not made that connection, but I could absolutely see that. He was way too comfortable and efficient going in. Yeah, he was very comfortable and efficient going in, knew exactly what he was doing to be in and out that quickly. Abby is asking me, I think you've asked me this before, Abby, on what the motive was. I don't know what the motive was. Who do I think the target was? So I don't know. A lot of people had, and we talked about this last night. So if you weren't in here last night, this will be a new discussion for you. If not, it'll just be a quick repeat. But a lot of people think that the connection is the Mad Greek, that it's a vegan restaurant, etc. Technically, the Mad Greek is not a vegan restaurant. They have vegan options, but they're not a vegan restaurant. So while he might have eaten there, they serve meat. I don't know if he would have eaten there too, because if the story is true, which I don't know why the aunt would lie, the aunt that said that when he came over, he was so vegan that he required her to go out and buy new pots and pans, or insisted, because he couldn't even eat in pots and pans that meat had been cooked in. I can't imagine that he would be going. My wife just texted. That was her texting. She said the in and out of the knife is sexual. Let me see. I want to try to do something real quick. I'm going to try to do something if she'll do this. She probably will not. She'll probably decline me, but I'm going to send her an invite anyways. Let's see what she'll do. The in and out of the knife is kind of sexual penetration. That's what she's saying. She comes on. She comes on. If she doesn't, she doesn't. So I don't know who was primary. I still kind of think Maddie was. I know a lot of people think Kaylee was, but I guess hopefully we'll find out. It sounds like the police probably know a lot more. Not even probably. I know that they know a lot more. I don't know if they know that, but they definitely know a lot more. He could have gone on to Zillow to see a layout, but Zillow's really not going to give you a true layout. Zillow's going to give you more of like a room by room, but it really doesn't give you that reconstruction of it. And since it was not a house for sale, you might have seen rental pictures, which aren't going to be pretty much. See, she's not accepting my invite to come on. If he was in the house before, don't you think they would have been able to make that connection by now, talking to the roommates and friends, unless not releasing this info? Okay, so Sydney's saying, if he, am I able to show this? Oh, that is awesome. Okay, I did not know I could do this. Okay, this just changes everything. So, okay, let's talk about this real quick. I think that if he went in during the day, the reason he would have gone in during the day was because nobody was home. So he probably, had a rough idea of the times that they were, going somewhere, or I don't know how he would have known, because it seems like most of the time he was there at night, but I think he might have gone during the day or something. And I mean, my personal opinion is that he's been in that house prior to this. And somebody said maybe a party at some point. I don't know. Like I said, the phone pinged 12 times in the area, most of the time late at night, early in the morning. So, it could have been there at one party and wandered in. Maybe that's how he discovered them. And if he went in while nobody was there, the roommates and friends wouldn't have necessarily seen that, or he did, and police haven't released that yet. Alyssa is right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true too, Shaylee. I can shoot this up there. There we go. If it wasn't his best option for vegan, I get what you're saying on that. And it probably in that area probably was one of his best options, if not the only option for vegan. The affidavit was very vague. I think Bryan threatened her. That's very possible, Sandy. What your theory is very possible. What did Jessica say? I want to go back and see what she said. Okay, crazy one said he laid this all out as his own case study, and he intentionally left the sheath out on the digital trail. Okay, I want to talk about this. I wish my wife would come on, because she's not going to, apparently. We have talked about this. I don't think that this is that far-fetched, Jessica. I really don't. Maybe a little bit, but I kind of feel we've talked about the possibility of it maybe being some kind of, for him, this is some kind of in his social experiment, or some kind of like hands-on research project as his, being this criminology student and wanting to study, crime and all that kind of stuff. I think that this is I don't think that this is that crazy. I really don't. To see if he could get out of it. Now, I think that that's probably it. Probably not. But I think that this is a very reasonable. I think it's much more reasonable than you think it is. Because if he didn't, then he's just the worst serial. He's the worst serial, but he's the worst killer ever. So no, I don't think that's ridiculous. Abby, you can tell Alyssa to get on. She's in here probably. Like he didn't actually do any essay with the knife. There's a similar feeling. I love that this feature is here. This is so much nicer. So for everybody, this is brand new. YouTube is still very new to me, and Twitch is incredibly new. I'm streaming on 3 platforms right now. But this is a brand new platform. First time I've used it, so I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah, I could see that. I think that for him, actually, let's go a little bit deeper on this. So I think that, if you go back to, I don't know how many of y'all were on here tonight for the readings of that Tappa Talk blog that he did from, I guess, 09 to 12, where he was talking about, the demons. And I'm going to compare it to and I know that he's not Dexter because Dexter killed people that deserve to die. So ignore that part of it. But this is a guy who wanted to join the police department. He applied to be part of the police department in an internship where he was going to help them with, I guess, forensic technology and increasing it in rural. He wrote a paper on it. And I think that he has a dark passenger, so to speak. I think when he was younger, the way that he quelled it was heroin. I mean, I don't think anybody's questioning the fact that he was on heroin when he was younger, which, I mean, that's a super hard drug for a teenager to be doing. I mean, it's a hard drug for an adult, much less that's hardcore. Anyways, and then when he realized he had to get clean, that heroin was not the path to go down, he turned into his studies. And so he's been he's 28 years old. He's been a professional student. If he went to college starting at 18, he's now 28. He's been doing this for a decade now. I think that his education and his studying of what he was feeling, maybe trying to either figure out how to get away with it or trying to figure out how to deal with it. I think that could have very well been, his new drug to quell his dark passenger, so to speak. You guys tell me if I'm way off base here. And I'm a little bit behind on the comments because I'm trying to go through and read. But I will get to all of them. I think I'll just put it up there. Do I think there will be technology to have metal detection by plane, like he was up to no good in the forest or anywhere home, shocked? You turn up. I don't think. Okay, so I think what you're asking, if I'm not mistaken, is I think you're asking, in the situation where he left the crime scene, took the long way home. Let me see if I get that pulled up. Hold on, so I can show you all that. I think I still have that. I don't want that. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up because I think I know what you're talking about. All right, that's not there. What's up? The people who haven't seen it can know. All right. I want a map of it. I don't want that. All right, cool. This is what I want. Well, that's not exactly what I want. Guys, give me a second here. I'm trying to find a good... Anyway, I'll talk about this while I'm looking for this. I think that he took the longer route home to maybe dispose of something, but typically in a national park, you're not really going to have a lot of metal detection. Here we go. Let me get this pulled up. I can do this and just do just the image. Open link. Where is open image? There we go. This is what I want. Okay, let me see if I can throw this up here real quick for y'all. All right, here's what it is. So basically, and I think y'all can see my mouse on this, right? Okay, no, there you can. Now you can. Okay, so right here is where the murders happened, and this is where he lives in Pullman, okay? So there's a route that goes from here to here. It's a straight route. It takes about 10 minutes. Then there's this route, which takes about 30 minutes. And this route goes through a national park, and there's a river out here. So after he did the murders, they're suspecting with the pings that he went at this point somewhere in here, based off the cellular device location, okay? So my thought is that the murder weapon was dumped probably somewhere in here. Because because it's a national park, there's nobody around, especially at the time that he was there. If he went off the beaten path a little bit, dug a hole deep enough, made sure it was really cleaned off, he could have buried it somewhere or thrown it in the river that was out there. I think that that's very plausible. I think I got the bar. Okay, so you're thinking that he was turned away by one of the girls. I think that that's very possible, too. Yeah, y'all are saying the more reasonable theory is that he was rejected, mad, obsessed with one of the upstairs girls, stalked them, planned the murder due to pent-up anger. That's very possible, too. Okay, Brianna said something great. He reminds me of Joe from You on Netflix. I'm going to throw this up because I think that there's a really good conversation we can have about this. I'm going to leave this route up here for a moment. So, yeah, I kind of agree. Joe, for those of y'all who have not seen You, if you're following this case, go watch the show You on Netflix. I think you're going to like it. It's Dexter, I think, as far as serial killer shows go, was better, but this is really good. And this guy's not a vigilante, but he has like a messiah complex. So actually, I'll go ahead and take this off from presenting. He has kind of a messiah complex. So basically, if the voice that was heard was like, "I'm here to help you," or "I'm going to help you," whatever it was, that could have been him. Like maybe, she was crying or whimpering because she had already been cut or slashed, for lack of a better term. I'm sorry for the crassness, and perhaps from, in that regard, he's thinking, well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to put you out of your misery, despite the fact that the only reason they're in misery is because of him. Or maybe, she watched him kill Ethan and, we don't know. We don't know. I think it'll find out. Yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you, Britt. I actually just showed that the animated timeline. I did not make that. I do edit it, but yeah, whoever put that together did a phenomenal job. I saw another one earlier that I'm probably going to share. I need to go back and watch it, make sure I like it. But do you think you could have shot the movie, Kaylee? She was alive. Are you saying that maybe he could have moved? Judy, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Are you asking if he would have? I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand if you can re-ask that, Judy. It's got some verbiage wrong a little bit. I don't know. How far am I behind? I'm like 10 minutes behind on questions. Okay, let me go through some of these. Yeah, I know we need a list on here. She's not coming on here. Do you think he might have moved Kaylee while she was alive into Maddie's room and closed the dog into Kaylee's room? No, I don't think that. Maybe the dog, maybe after the fact. But I think the way that at least we've been told is that the only reason Kaylee was there at all was to show Maddie, her best friend, her new car, the Range Rover that she bought. Let me throw this up here. To show the Range Rover that she bought. And I think that her room had already been packed up a good bit, which is why she was sleeping in Maddie's room. And, it's not uncommon for best friends, especially, girls and young women to sleep. That's not an uncommon thing, from my understanding. So I don't think anything's weird about that. I think that her bed was probably packed up or her room was a mess from packing and she just didn't want to sleep in there. That's my thought. Do you think his defense will say any of the Google searches were for his PhD research? He was allegedly researching mindset of violent criminals. That's okay. This is a great question. So I think that, if you look at the Reddit post, it says that it's for research. And if you look at some of the other things that he Googled, he was into, this is what he was doing. So he could absolutely say that it was. And, that stuff becomes super circumstantial, I believe, going into search histories, unless you're like Brian Walsh, whose wife, who weighs 115 pounds, is missing, and you Googled how to dispose of a 115-pound body. That's a different story. But yeah, I think that they could they could probably get thrown out easy. But there's other things that I think are going to be really difficult for him to try to overcome, and that's based on the affidavit alone. And the affidavit only shows a portion of what we know, what the law enforcement has told us. So I know that there's significantly more. Is Kaylee's hometown close? If so, he could have followed her knowing she would be there and others didn't know that she was coming other than Maddie. I think that maybe, I don't know where Kaylee's hometown was. I'm sure somebody in the chat can tell us. Maybe the dude drove a lot. If we pull up the Carfax, which I don't know if I can Maybe I can find that. Let me see if I can find that. If we pull up the Carfax on it, which I might have, I need to find where I put it. Bear with me. There it is. All right, let me throw this up. Let's talk about this. Here's window. This one. All right, it's kind of small, but this is his Carfax, right? It's a little bit bigger. No, I was trying to get more of it in, but all right. Well, this is his Carfax. So what I'm trying to show you, and well, actually, maybe I can select my own post. Try to make it a little bit bigger, but basically, what you look at the miles here. He bought the car here on 4/20. It had 101,515 miles. Okay. Now look at it 4 months later, right here. So he was in Pennsylvania when he bought this car, and he moved. This is again in August. The car has 111,000 miles. Okay, in 4 months. That's an average of 2,500 miles a month. Now we know that at least one of those trips was 2,500 miles was Pennsylvania out. So that still puts it at 7,500 miles in 4 months, taking out the Pennsylvania trip, or moving out there to Washington. I don't care who you are. I'm a sales rep and I drive a lot, and that's a lot of driving. And that's what we know in August. We don't know what the mileage was, here when he switched his plates, or on December 30th when he was arrested and they towed the cars. So I think that he was all over the place doing whatever he was doing. So is it plausible that he followed her home to her hometown, even if it was far? Absolutely. Do I think that he knew the roommate that unalived themselves? No, I don't. That happened before he was there. No, actually, no, it didn't. It didn't happen before he was there, but no, I don't think that he knew them. I don't think he knew them. He's the worst PhD student that took his cell phone to the... Yeah, he is not the best at crime, I guess, or murder, unless he was trying to do... Yeah, it is so much more relaxed on TikTok. Unless he's trying to get caught. That's what's kind of hard. Okay, I want to talk about this. The visual snow message boards are super sad. So if y'all don't know what this is, I'm going to grab a drink real quick because I lost my other one. I'm going to be right back, but I'll keep talking. If you don't know what the visual snow message boards are, he did a tap a talk from like 2009 to 2012, from the time he was 14 till he was 17. And they are... I can get them. I think I get that pulled up too, actually. Bear with me. I can get some of those pulled up, I think. Because I know for a fact that I put these up here. They're a few videos back, aren't they? No? Where are they? Let me find it real quick. Maybe I didn't put it up like I thought I did. Maybe they got taken down. Well, I have them, and I'll try to go back and look for them. I thought I put them on Instagram. All right, I cannot find it. Oh, here it is. Yes, it is. I found it. Okay. Doing Instagram on your... Okay, I can't get it pulled up very well. But if you go to my Instagram, it is... How many videos back? How many posts back? 3, 6, 9, 10 posts back. It's the one right before the one that's showing like the bags of evidence when they're taking the mattresses out. But anyways, this dude was crying for help. I mean, he was literally going onto these message boards trying to get help and figure out what was wrong with him. And, he never got the help that he needed. The mental health system failed him. His parents, I don't know if they knew or not. If so, they missed this. If they didn't know, they missed the signs. But his parents, everything failed him. If he had gotten the help that he needed, maybe this would not have happened. And I think the same, I was talking about this on TikTok too. I think the same thing when it comes to Ethan Crumbley, the Oxford school shooter in Michigan. I think that, he was also crying for help. The school recommended help, and the parents, flat out, his parents failed him on that one. But, it gets to a point where these people take lives. This guy was in serious need of help. He has as a teenager, he thought he had demons he was battling. And if he had another way to redirect things, I mean, it's woulda, coulda, shoulda, but it's too late now. And even though I feel very bad for teenage Bryan, I don't feel bad for adult Bryan, because he still made this decision knowing, he's an intelligent man. He knows what's right and what's wrong. He knows that killing is wrong. So, thank you, Britt. I appreciate that. Why are so many killers want to be cops? Let's do this. I'm about to get real unpopular here. There are two terms I always tell people. In fact, actually, I'm just going to do. I'll show y'all what it is. I'll do it real time with y'all. Put this up here. There are two stats there's a stat I always tell people to do, and I say, Google just 2 words. Google police. 40%. All I gotta do. First thing that comes up. That's fine. First thing that comes up. Then you keep scrolling, and it's all it is. Domestic violence. 40% of cops abuse family. All it is. So now, please don't take this as me coming down on law enforcement. I'm not. There are very good officers who do very good police work. I think what we've seen in Moscow is very good police work. Incredible police work, as a matter of fact. And I know that I said stuff to Alyssa and maybe on a couple lives negatively about them at the time, and I definitely take that back. So I knew when I did that, people would drop. So I dropped to 12 people for putting that up there. But the reality is this is a statistic that people need to be aware of. And part of this is police have a very challenging job. Think about the things that they see. Rookie cops saw this crime scene that we've all been talking about. They need help more than anybody, I would say, because their job is so incredibly challenging, and you have to stay, tough all the time. Again, it doesn't excuse this type of behavior right here, but it's a problem. There's a lot of violence that comes with being a police officer. I have a cousin of mine who is a psychiatrist in Miami, and he works for one of the hospitals down there. For his anonymity, I won't say which one. And he and I had a conversation about this not too long ago. And he had said that, a lot of times when police bring in people for evaluations, that oftentimes the police will meet the same criteria that the patients do. So let me see where I'm at on time here. I am still 60 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to catch up a little bit. A lot of y'all are talking so good I can scroll past a little bit. I knew a lot of people weren't going to like it when I put that up there. Justin, can the prosecution have a total psychological assessment, including MRI done on Bryan, or can he refuse? Okay, let's put that up. So I'm only 10 minutes behind on questions. So they can request it, but they can't require him to do it. Go back and think of the Amber Heard trial. I know the Amber Heard trial was, it was very different. It was civil versus criminal. But in this particular case, they can ask, but he doesn't have to complete it. If somebody wants him to do evaluation, he has the right to refuse. And if he doesn't want to do it, and the only reason he would do it, if his defense thinks that it'll help his case. If not, he's not going to do it. Madeline, you go to WSU. What's the vibe over there? And by the way, if you guys are in here I'm just out for my own sake of curiosity. If you're in this live or in this chat and you're not on YouTube, let me know which platform you're on. Because I started Twitter and Twitch tonight for the first time. Okay, I'm getting caught up here. Okay, they're all less than 100 miles away. Okay, that's where I'm at. If y'all know. No. Or they could drive to perimeters of other crimes elsewhere now expanded. Yeah, I know snowing his. Yeah, he was. Oh, it shows me where y'all are from. While y'all are here, it's got the little an icon. Cool, I didn't see that. Yeah, the heroin problem. Okay, that's a good point. Sharon said the heroin also helped with his weight loss. I think that's valid too. I'm trying to go back and look real quick at some of this. I read all the Tappa Talk notes. He mentions hypothyroidism as well. Yeah, so you're right. So I read all the Tappa Talk posts. He mentions hypothyroidism as well. Thyroid can cause terrible anxiety and depression. Yeah, a hypo or hyper and hypothyroidism can do all sorts of stuff to mess with you in a lot of different ways. Y'all coming? Okay, so Mackenzie, do you? I'm not going to read your question for. I mean, I know you put it up there, but I'm not going to do that. Read it to you in a live. But do you feel that Bryan? I mean, obviously you don't know Bryan, but do you feel like that based on the Tappa Talk posts and stuff like that you know about? Do you feel like he was trying to essentially self-medicate? Do you feel like my speculation, the fact that he was basically using it to try to battle his demons, so to speak? Do you think that that's a fairly reasonable assumption? Gonna keep going to look up things here. Yeah, I'm going to flip this one up here. For those of y'all who don't know, Idaho does not allow an insanity plea. They are the only state out of all 50 that don't allow an insanity plea. Yes, my Twitch handle is the same as on here. Well, thank you, Lynn, for Twitch. This is literally my first time ever on Twitch right now. Yeah, it's streaming. Yeah, Burner Bird is streaming on all of these. It's streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at the same time. Do you think his action was a lot like Ted? Look at him. I'm all caught up. I'm all caught up. Do I think his action was a lot like Ted Bundy? I think that, Ted Bundy, I hate to use the word. I'm not going to use the word effective or a better. He was he eventually got caught, but he did a lot more damage than Bryan did. I think that Ted Bundy might have been somebody that he admired or looked up to. And that's the best I could think of. But I mean, I think that they even look very similar. I mean, everything is very similar. It's common to leave survivors, living victims to retell the story. They think it glorifies them. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, Britt. That totally makes sense, what you're saying. I'm reading. All right, let's look at this question. Justin, did I read the affidavit correctly? Did it say Bryan didn't go back to Moscow after 9/8? Say Bryan didn't go back to Moscow after 9 a.m. on 11/13. Let's see if we can pull the affidavit up. I have it right here. Is this it? Yep, I do. Let's go to the affidavit. Why not? We're here. Let's go to the affidavit. All right. Let's find it. I'm pretty sure it said he did go there. We'll go with this. By the way, I'm going to do a thing because I did if y'all saw the videos, I posted videos on I guess all the platforms, but TikTok especially because that's where I have the most followers. I'm going to do and I'll post it on all the platforms. I know we did the live on YouTube the other night where I went through this and broke it down at a pretty high level. But I'm going to go through and break down all of this and all of these and all the new ones, not this one, all of these as they come out. just so y'all know. If y'all didn't see that, it was I probably ought to ask me to do it, and I asked if they wanted it, if they felt that would be valuable, and they all said yes. And one of my lovely followers, Judy, said that she would help me with anything that I don't understand. I'm trying to find this because it talks about when he came back. It talks about the cell phone pings. Next, we're going to talk about the crimes. Okay. So here's from November 13th. We're getting to the right time. Here we go. Right here. Further review indicated that the 8458 is the last four of his phone number. The 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th that are consistent with that phone number leaving the area of the Kohberger residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, his phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. So he basically was in that area, went back to the house for about 9 minutes the day of the killing. So, he left there at 4 something in the morning. And he, at 5:27, he was observed driving back towards his house, or his apartment. That's what this is up here. And at 9 a.m., he left his place and left his residence and was heading to Moscow. But to kind of show you what we were talking about earlier when we talked about that longer route, approximately 9 a.m., he left there, and his phone was pinging by 9:12. So literally 12 minutes to get there. So then after 9:21, it started utilizing other cell towers traveling back towards his place, and he was back at his residence area by 9:32. So again, 11-minute drive, pretty quick. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, you're welcome, Jessica. I'm glad. Yeah, usually my followers are all pretty chill. It's usually a pretty good environment. Buddy said, this is a good question. So I can take this down, put myself back up there. Hold on. So, yeah, there is a shopping center. I don't know if it's a shopping center, but there's an area where stuff is about a mile away. Can they prove the exact location with the pings? I don't know how. I think that a good attorney could probably throw out some of the pings and as circumstantial, but there's a lot of coincidentals for him to be in that. He doesn't really have a reason to be in that area. Like there's no shopping at 5:27 in the morning. Most stores don't open until 10. So there's no shopping, unless it's like a convenience store, which again, he wouldn't need to go there. He could do that in Pullman. So unless, at 9 o'clock in the morning, when he gets over there, there's not really stores over there, especially for him to then be back at his house before 10. It's going to be, in my opinion, pretty hard to explain. Yeah, I saw. So Judy said you guys can see what Judy's saying in the chat. She sent me 2 emails. One for the order of criminal procedure, and I'm going to look at that. I don't think I've seen that one yet. I did see the one that you sent me about the delay. So due to COVID, Judy sent me something showing where Detroit, where Michigan is like years behind on their cases, and doesn't know if it'll affect this. We know that Idaho's rules are to have them, in front of a judge, basically, unless the defense requests a delay within 6 months. I don't know if that's going to change because of COVID, if they still have to try to do it. I guess we will find out. I would imagine, and again, this is just speculation, with it being such a high-profile case, they would probably try to get to it. Plus, it's Idaho. Like when you look at a place like Michigan or Detroit, Atlanta, New York, etc., populations are high. They're higher than the entire population of Idaho. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I'm not overly concerned that it'll be that long, but yeah. So, and as she said, so she answered the question. I'll put this up there because Judy Judy, you're awesome. I love the insight you're bringing. So thank you. They're 500 trials behind. Okay, that's significant. Yeah, it's kind of got better shot. I'll bite him in the butt. Idaho is smaller with less crime rate, but apparently they're 500 trials behind, which doesn't seem like a lot, but depending on what the trial is, they can take a little while. At least they have DNA. That's the most solid evidence. Yep, they have DNA for sure. You know what? I want to see what. Hey, Emily. This is a good question. Judy, I'm going to leave this up here. Do you want to weigh in on this one? And actually, if you wanted to, I'm not going to make you do this late at night, but we could actually probably arrange something if you wanted to come on one night and kind of talk about some of this stuff. I could send you a link, and we could do that. So while I'm doing that, I'll take a look at these other questions. What do we know about his family? All I've heard is his sister's a mental health therapist in New Jersey. So So L Entertainment is asking, what do we know about his family? All I've heard is that one of his sisters is a mental health therapist in New Jersey. So I've heard that too. One of his sisters also was in a slasher film, oddly enough. I know that if you go back and read his Tabba Talk post, he talks about being a jerk to his dad, how his dad's a really nice guy. I don't know too much about that. I don't have bad vibes about his dad like I did with his sister was in a horror film. So to answer your question, Megan, Judy just responded and said, a cell tower is not good enough for reasonable doubt. There's too much other evidence. So thank you for that. But yeah, Judy, if you want to, I'll email you. But if you're open to come on one night, I would be totally up for that. Yeah, I know. I love this setup, Emily. This is brand new. It's great. And I'm actually, since you just got here, I'm actually streaming on 3 different platforms at the same time, which is cool. I think. I also know that his mom wrote. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if y'all. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this, but. She wrote something about. Here it is. She wrote. No, that's not going to be. I just want this. All right, let me throw this up here so y'all can see this. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this or at least heard it. But his mom wrote this in 1989. I don't want to share everything. Hold on. I'm trying to share just that one window. Not the whole thing. There we go. His mom wrote this. Let me go back to this and pull up into the question so I can put this in here. I can't find the one, but anyways. His mom wrote this, and basically this was after Ted Bundy was getting ready to go be put to death. There actually people were wearing shirts that said Fry, F-R-Y Day. It's kind of funny. Again, I support the death penalty. So, but basically she's saying that she's against the death penalty, which is odd because now her son is facing it. Kind of a little odd, but that's what we know about his mom. Yeah, she's also a teacher. She teaches the same as Kayla's mom. Okay, yeah. No, it's good. I think it's good to ask those questions, Bunny Sue. I do. Okay, both his parents work for the school. Okay. Yeah, I feel bad for the dad too. Well, we can look that up. Let's look that up right now. Which I'm gonna throw this up. Let's see, because we know that there was Jack in the Box on the table. That's permanently closed. The closest one looks like is in. I don't know how far Burley is. Oh, hold on. Actually, no. There we go. I don't know Moscow or Idaho's team. But let's see about Washington. There could be one in Pullman. Let's do this. There is one that's open in Pullman, which is only 10 minutes away. So I think that's a little bit debunked. Oh, you said Pullman. Okay, yeah, that is it. So there's 1 mile away from his apartment. Interesting. Okay, this is a good point. Okay, now that I'm actually putting it together, that is interesting. So for those of y'all who don't know what she's referencing, in the picture on the kitchen table, there's a lot of stuff, and there is a Jack in the Box bag, and the closest one's in Pullman, a mile apparently from his house. But you know what? I think the Jack in the Box did Xana order Jack in the Box that night? Was that, or am I making that up? Am I making that up? I'm going to stop pretending. We just find these things out together, guys. Okay, so I think that this is an interesting point. I don't know. So 11/22, isn't that his birthday? I could be wrong, or November 2022. And then the date, the 13th, and was it Friday? Was November the 13th Friday the 13th? Am I making that up? Apple does not make things easy. Okay, it was a Sunday. Never mind, it was a Sunday. Well, there are other killings in surrounding states. I don't believe that he's involved in these because he wasn't in the air at the time. But they were both done on Friday the 13th in their respective months. Okay, so yeah, I saw that video too, and I forgot about it, Chris, until you just brought this up. There is video of his sister, pictures of her basically touring the crime scene. I think did Nancy Grace show it last night? I just can't remember. I know I saw it last night. There were pictures, Bunny Sue, of this, somebody who looked like the sister, I guess, very, very much at the crime scene, to the point that people thought that it was her, and it was with the defense. Now maybe it's just they look very similar, and people are speculating, but I've seen that. Don't take it as gospel because none of it's been confirmed, but. Can you find the article about Bryan saving a woman in Pennsylvania when he was a security guard? Let me look. When I'm pulling up anything like that, I'll have to look a little bit more because all it's really showing me is stuff about his arrest in Pennsylvania. So I'll have to look. Mackenzie goes, I've never had Jack in the Box. You are not missing much. Her name was on the bag. Okay. That's how far back I'm ahead. Okay. Y'all are all correct and keep me honest. Crime story from Nancy Grace. I'm scrolling up. I'm 2 minutes behind now. So what I do is I stop scrolling the chat when I'm answering questions so I don't lose questions. Let's talk about Papa Rogers real quick because Kate kind of brought it up, or somebody brought it up. Do y'all think that I wonder if I can do something? No, I can't. I'll have to figure that out. Also, I could do like a poll or something. Do you guys think Papa Rogers is him? I'm just curious. Like, what do y'all think on this? I'm just curious. Okay, you do. Chrissy does. Okay, a lot of y'all do. So he said Jack in the Box is great drunk food. I would say that Whataburger would beat that any day. Jamie, I haven't seen the random posting from Papa Rogers on the Indiana Council Facebook pages. I did not see that. I'm with you, Bunny. I can't say yes or no either. I mean, I feel like it's very, very like if it came back and officially confirmed that Papa Rogers is Bryan Kohberger, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like it wouldn't surprise me, but then it wouldn't surprise me. No, because he wouldn't be that stupid. They could trace his IP unless he's using a VPN. Then a VPN will bounce your IP around, which I would hope he'd be smart enough to do that, especially if he was doing like digital forensics, if that was his thing. Yeah, he was a security guard. Chrissy, he also applied to do digital forensics and with the police department, the local police department in Pullman. That's a breakdown, TFA. I think that I don't know if the FBI are actually looking for the knife right now or not. I think they'd like to have the knife for sure. Mine and cloud forensics. Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. He was very much arguing over the sheath. To the point that Dustin guy asked him if he was if he was the killer. I'm reading y'all's question. Exactly. Yeah, Ashley, I feel very bad for his parents. I know a lot of people say that how did the dad ride in the car and not know? I think he cleaned the car initially. And he did a thorough deep clean at home. But no, it makes me sad for his father. When can the police pull him in and start asking him questions? They can ask him questions whenever, but he actually, where is it real quick? Let me find it. I'll show you what he did. Let me show you what he did. I love this setup, guys. All right. This is an invocation of rights. This, by the way, was on the date of his arrest. So 12:30, 1:41 p.m. His assigned attorney, Nancy Taylor here. Okay. Bryan C. Kohberger does hereby invoke his rights to remain silent and to counsel pursuant to the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments. So police can pull him in. He's not going to answer the question. He is invoking his 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. So if they are going to question him, it will be with his attorney present. But they can go ahead and question him whenever. I'll say that even more that you said the sheath argument was a doozy. I think him mentioning the sheath before anybody knew. I mean, that was like November something. and he mentioned the sheath, and nobody knew that there was a sheath there. I mean, that's random. I would have literally, I would have never thought. The thought of a sheath never crossed my mind. So I want to put this up real quick because I want to address this real quick. I'll take this stuff back up. So I don't know if y'all saw, or when I had Rose in my live, Rose Davis, Gabby's best friend, and I tend to agree with this. I feel bad. I actually feel bad for Christopher Laundrie. I do. And even Rose thinks that he is a victim of Roberta Laundrie. I think that Roberta Laundrie is the problem. That is my personal opinion. I think that Bryan Laundrie was a massive narcissist, very controlling, and I think that he got that from his mother. That's my opinion on that. Yeah, Joe gonna feel so bad what he's done for his family. All the families involved in this it's tragic because at the end of the day, whether or not Bryan gets life in prison, assuming a conviction is what I'm assuming a conviction here because I feel like he's guilty of sin, but or the death penalty, which I mean will take years, and I'm sure they'll try to appeal it. 5 families are losing their kids, and even if he just goes to prison where he's still technically alive, his parents aren't wealthy. The travel to Idaho regularly to see him, I mean, they might be able to get to do it once a year, which is more than what Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee's family is going to be able to do. But they're all losing kids in this. Yeah, he knew the 15 minutes too. I did not see I don't try to check the Facebook page that much because the Facebook page is an absolute dumpster fire. So Gianna agrees with the same thing what I was saying, that Roberta was guilty and Chris is a victim. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Back to this. Do I think he's I'm trying to read some of this stuff. I want to throw this comment up, what Judy said. So for a lot of y'all who are again new to my page, it's about TikTok especially, YouTube, you guys probably won't know too much of this. I might have shared a couple of these stories on YouTube in the past, just haphazardly. But I grew up in a household where my mom was a massive narcissist. She's not officially diagnosed, but there's no doubt in my mind she has NPD and possibly sociopathic tendencies. And she's a malignant narcissist. She can be very dangerous. She has gotten physically aggressive before, but typically she does it in different ways. She will try to take somebody down and typically is successful at doing it. So yeah, and the funny that the reason I pulled this up is you talked about there have a stronger risk factor for developing eating disorders such as binge eating, purging, and over concern with body shape and weight. My mother and both my mother and my father are obsessed with weight. My brother was as a preteen and young teenager. My brother was a little, we'll say, husky. And my parents were divorced by them, but my mom and my stepdad would literally wrap a train around the refrigerator and padlock it to keep him out. So it's funny that you said that because, yeah, they were so concerned with how the body looked. Hey, Tori. Somebody asked, do I think it's all possible that he had helped or solicited someone to do this with him being the mastermind behind it all, had a driver drove? So there's one thing that I like to say. It's a kind of a Ben Franklin quote, but I'll modify it a little bit. Ben Franklin used to have a saying that three people can keep a secret if two of them are dead. Well, it's the same thing. Two people can keep a secret with one when one of them is dead. I don't think that Bryan would have wanted to share in the glory, and I think that it would have been too much. If he wasn't trying to get caught, it would have been too much of a risk factor. Plus, I mean, how do you bring up the conversation with somebody else that, hey, let's go murder 4 people or 2, however many he planned on, doesn't matter how many. Let's go murder them. Like, I know that there are people who've been successful at doing that in the past. I mean, the Manson family is a good example. Charles Manson never physically killed anybody himself. He had his followers do it. And I just don't feel like Bryan, what we know about Bryan, what we've seen about Bryan, has the personality to be able to, Charles Manson had a dynamic personality. Bryan Kohberger, there's nothing dynamic about him that I've seen. So I don't think he could command or get anybody to do this type of stuff with him or for him. That's just, again, my opinion. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong and you disagree with me, please tell me. I'm all open for it. Has Papa Rogers, whatever it has, been active since he was arrested? Honest answer, no. No, he hasn't. He was actually last active the day before Bryan was arrested. So Nina says, I think he talked to other serial killers, was inspired by BTK and Ted Bundy. Yeah, we know that he had possible access to Ted Bundy. Not Ted Bundy, to BTK through his teacher. I think that, his killing has a lot of similarities to Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, wasn't through a sorority, but he did go to a college. He does kind of look like Ted Bundy, which is, whatever, here nor there, but coincidental, but still. Yeah, I'm going to put this one up. I want to see Roberta go down too. And if there's any, and I'm wondering if this letter that they found with he offering to do a shovel, if that's going to be the final nail to get her criminal charges. Nothing's come out as of yet, but I'm interested to see. Do I think Brian Laundrie is really dead? Yes, I do, Rebecca. I'd say 95% sure. Like if he showed up in the Caribbean at one point, I'm not trying to start rumors here, so please don't take it that way. If he showed up in the Caribbean at one point, I wouldn't be surprised. But I honestly think he's dead. Now, would I be surprised if Roberta did it? That's a different question. This is a good point. Okay, so yeah, a lot of county jail better wash their butts. Everybody there, because he's at. We can sit back and say, okay, and I'm going to do this for just a couple more minutes because after midnight here, but I'll answer all the questions up until midnight unless there's a really, really, really good one after. Then I'll sign off. But I think academically, this guy is very intelligent. Now, a lot of highly intelligent people don't have common sense. My brother, who I love dearly, is a highly intelligent individual. He is an attorney. He has always succeeded at everything he's done with academics. He's always been a phenomenal student. But my brother also will drive for 40 miles on a flat tire, even though the car is continually pulling to the right. So no common sense. Same thing with Bryan. He might have tried to do this, but, stay safe, Tammy. People who commit crimes typically want to be near the crime scene after. So, the cast is done so like more individuals. It wouldn't shock me if he was in that group either, Ashley, but it also, that's why it doesn't shock me, the fact that at 9 a.m. he was over there, because I think that when he went over there at 9 something in the morning, a lot of people are like, I think he tried to go in and retrieve the sheath, and that's why the front door was open. I don't know if I buy that yet. Even my wife kind of feels that way partially. We are going to bed soon. Don't worry. I don't think he went in broad daylight to try to go get the sheath. I think he went by to see if there was any commotion at the house, like police or anything like that going on, to see basically the effects, the aftermath of what he did. I think that the knives, I think the clothes are burned. Because you burn the clothes and there's absolutely no way for anything to come back. I agree. I think he did it for his own pleasure. I agree with that. So, okay, so I'm going to throw this one up. So, Sydney, he actually got kicked out of the Dumpster Fire Facebook group and created his own Facebook group, which is, I don't know if it's still there at all. Oh, I did not know this. I want to see this. I didn't see this. So this needs to be a video. Let me look this up. UK Bryan Kohberger. I'll put TMD. 2 days ago. I totally missed that. Okay, I'll do a video on that. Because I hadn't seen that at all. And I'm sure it's out there. I just hadn't seen it. Well, that had been difficult to develop. So by photo lab, do you still like are you talking about like film cameras out of curiosity? Well, Papa Rogers did make his own group, but he's still silent even in that group. No, Brian's not on. Brian has not been on suicide watch at all in Idaho. So I'm putting this up here, Holly, just to say same. And yeah, my money's going to be on YouTube. No, I don't think the reference is to Mr. Rogers. Ashley Banfield, I think the other night was trying to say it was like the military phonetic alphabet, like Papa, P for Papa, and R for Rogers, except in the military alphabet or the military phonetic alphabet, R is Romeo, not Rogers. So I don't know. Is there a serial killer with? I don't know a lot about serial killers. I mean, a lot of them, but. Yeah, I agree with this. He was probably, yeah, I don't know if, unless he left it there on purpose. I agree with you. I agree with you. All right. And on that note, I got through everything. It is 12:06. So I appreciate everybody hanging out here with me tonight. If you wandered in and don't follow me, please consider doing so. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel for sure. And but I do the vast majority of my stuff on TikTok, and this is just my housekeeping stuff. And then on Instagram, I post like the little things that, don't go on TikTok, like little, screenshots or documents, stuff like that. So if you're interested, it's pretty much the same name over all of them. The only difference is Justin on TikTok. On TikTok itself is a 0 at the end in talk, not an O. But I will be back on tomorrow night for Banfield. So yeah, I know, I like it too. I love this setup, and as I get more comfortable with it and everything that I can do with it, I think it's going to be really, really great. So all right, you guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow. And for everybody who's in the way of that storm in California, stay safe.